You know, guys, there's an old saying about not being able to take the heat and staying out of the kitchen, and we as Americans do just that. In fact, we spend some $279 billion a year eating out. And we're not talking about fast food. We're speaking of the linen on the table, the silverware, and even a sommelier. Yes, but with all that schwank comes from P's and Q's you need to know about. Help us navigate between the shrimp fork and the ice cream spoon, Miss Alyssa Hamrick from the Protocol School of Washington. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm very well. So table manners are something probably like a lot of basics seem to be lost.
Not necessarily, but there are some things that even those who were brought up with like some basic table manners need to remember. Specifically, I've noticed with a lot of the nicer restaurants, people keep adding things onto the table.
Okay, what do you mean? Like the salt and pepper shaker?
Well, no. Like when you go to a nice place, the host has probably put a lot of thought into what goes onto the table. There might be a beautiful centerpiece. There might be like beautiful plates and silverware. There might be like 4 forks, and you know, they put a lot of effort into how this looks.
Right.
But when people typically walk into a restaurant these days, first thing they do is, okay, well, put the cell phone, got to put that there. All right, we're set. And then every so often it's
right. So what you're suggesting then is maybe we declutter the table.
Yes. So what I'm here to talk to you about today is what should not be on the table anymore.
Okay, let's get to it.
Well, the first one, obviously, your elbows. That's one of the first things we're taught when we were kids.
My Aunt Jenny used to tell me that all the time.
Yes, you don't want to put your elbows on the table, but you'll be surprised to know in almost every culture except ours, it's actually rude to keep your hands in your lap.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, except in America. In most cultures, it's always appropriate to keep just your wrists kind of gracefully on the table. Having your hands in your lap is kind of rude.
Right. Okay.
So keep your elbows off the table, your wrists on. In America, it's not that big of a deal. Another thing you don't want to have on the table is, of course, your cell phone.
Right.
You get bonus points if you leave it in the car. But if you must have it, I get this a lot from mothers, like I have to check on the kids every hour.
Sure.
Okay, so put it in your handbag. And if you want to check on your kids, you want to check the cell phone, excuse yourself quietly and exit.
All right.
And then come back quietly.
So basically, nothing that the waiter doesn't put on the table should be on the table, essentially.
No, not really. Especially your handbag. I see this so often, especially when you have the giant handbag.
Right.
They put that straight there up on the table. Now this is maybe a little better choice, something small. If you have a giant handbag, maybe choose something a little smaller. This, don't try not to put it on the floor. Again, that's not necessarily super sanitary. You might have a nice bag. The best place to put your handbag is behind your back in the chair. And that's where your cell phone can go. If you want to check, you can just gracefully exit. One
more quick question for you, Miss Alyssa Hamrick from the Protocol School of Washington. The napkin, of course, it goes in your lap. That's always been taught. I guess there's a protocol when we're supposed to put it into the
Yes.
lap?
A lot of people, they think it's good manners as soon as they get to the table to put their napkin in their lap. But you might want to wait, especially if you're at a nice event, because your host may have a plan beforehand. Maybe you're going to
like
toast.
Duck, duck, goose.
Well, okay, but maybe you have a plan for that. When you open your napkin, you want to open it like so, and put the fold towards your waist.
Just like that.
And then when you use your napkin, you just kind of use these little lips right here, and then you can kind of put stuff. If you have a little crumbs, they go right in there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Miss Alyssa Hamrick, the Protocol School of Washington. Thank you for some P's and Q's. We'll put more at abccolumbia.com. And don't forget, guys, when you get up to check your phone, because you don't do it at the table, of course, you leave your napkin right in your seat. Stay with us.